Welcome back to another episode of Shabbat Shmooze. This week's Parshiyot are Tazria-Mitsora, two deeply interconnected Parshiyot about the consequences of speaking lashon hara and about the mysterious spiritual condition called tzara'at. Tzara'at is often mistranslated as leprosy, but Chazal teach us that tzara'at, it wasn't really medical, it was more moral. It's like a divine reaction to behaviors like lashon hara, gossip, slander. Now, what happened to someone who spoke lashon hara? The Parsha explains something so interesting that for me, that we try so hard in our home to be a lashon hara-free home. The Torah's interpretation of the rebuke or the punishment for a Mitsora, someone who spoke lashon hara, is fascinating. It's actually very interesting. The pasuk says, "V'yashav michutz lamachaneh moshavo badad." He who spoke lashon hara, his punishment will be, and he will sit outside the camp. Moshavo badad, his dwelling place will be in isolation. Chazal is teaching us that someone who spoke negatively about another person, someone who's a Mitsora, someone who spoke gossip, lashon hara, slander, his punishment isn't an actual physical punishment. His punishment will be that he has to be left in isolation, alone, separated from the rest of the camp. Why? Why wasn't it something more physical? And Chazal tell us something so fascinating. When someone speaks poorly about another human being, he needs time in isolation, in quiet, to reflect on his ways, and that reflection, that time alone, will probably bring him to an awakening, to do teshuva, to recognize the error in his ways, and then to go and repair that damage. There's an amazing story about Rabbi Salanter, who went to shul every week and would see all of his congregants, and for a while he noticed one of the congregants that sat in the front hadn't been appearing, and he wondered what happened to this man. So he asked around, and someone gently told the Rav that this man had spoken very bad lashon hara about another businessman in the shul, and because of that, he was now an outcast. He was canceled. Nobody wanted to sit next to him. Nobody invited him for Shabbos. Nobody wanted to be around him. So Rabbi Salanter felt very, very sorry for this man, and he decided to pay him a visit. And he went to his home, and the man was sitting in utter silence at home. And Rabbi Yisrael said to him, come back to shul. What's going on? And the man said, I was in a moment of rage, in a moment of sadness, and I spoke poorly about someone else. And now that I've been so isolated and so alone, I truly recognize the error of my ways. But unfortunately, it's already too late. The community has already decided that they don't want to communicate with me, they don't want to invite me, and now I'm an outcast, and now I don't know what to do. And Rabbi Salanter said, now you learned your lesson. This was the point. This is the definition of moshavo badad. His punishment should be that he will camp, he will dwell in isolation. So Rabbi Salanter said to him, come, let's make a deal, let's make a pact that we will go together and you will apologize to this man, and I will bring you back into the community, into the congregation, and everything will be fine. And so that's exactly what happened. They created a beautiful apology plan. They went over to the businessman's home. He forgave and forget, and even got that man a job. He had been canceled from his job, and everything, Baruch Hashem, turned out beautifully. That man learned his lesson, and he understood that time rotting away in silence was really his time to reflect, to awaken, and to do teshuva. Not only did he come back to the community, but he came back a transformed man, which is really the point of this whole parsha, these parshiyot. We know that speaking lashon hara is wrong, but when we're taught that the punishment for it is isolation, let that become our spiritual homework. This Shabbat, we have 25 hours. It's 25 hours away from work, craziness, errands. Let us reflect for 25 hours in isolation, in our home, in silence. Think about anyone you've spoken lashon hara about, or go on a complete lashon hara fast. No speaking or hearing lashon hara for 25 hours. And let us show Hashem that will truly awaken us to be transformed, to be better people, to be better human beings, and to recognize the error of our ways and take it one step further. If you have spoken lashon hara about someone, take this time to reflect and devise a plan to go and ask forgiveness. When you ask forgiveness, you are right then opening the gates of rachamim for you and your family. So daven your heart away for whatever Yeshua you need. I love you all. Wish you all a wonderful healing Shabbat and a wonderful Shabbat Shalom.